Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm really glad that we eventually got here. It's only actually taken us about now.
Well, it's been such a long time since we did the last episode that to be fair, I'd completely forgotten all the settings and everything we were supposed to do, and it's just been an absolute nightmare. So, but we're here now. We're here now, Dave.
Yeah, we're here now, and this is because I don't know, various things, time, commitment. We're not getting a lot of feedback. This is probably going to be the last one.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, added to the fact that I am no longer a HGV driver as well.
Yeah. I was going to feed in. I had a big thing to feed into that.
Oh, sorry, man.
And
Sorry. Look,
you just stole my thunder.
oh man, I
See,
am.
this is why we can't work together. We just cannot work in this together.
Well, on that note, I believe you're already half
Yeah.
into a rant, so I think you wanted to take this opportunity to go full on rant. I believe.
Well, because we did have an original thing about. I did change my mind, but originally I did want to go on about a rant about middle lane drivers, how absolute, complete, and utter arseholes they are. I was going to say something polite, but I couldn't.
No, fair
Couldn't
enough.
bring myself to.
I marked these
What?
videos as not for kids, so profanity is
Okay,
perfectly
that's
fine, mate.
right. Good. Fuck it. So yeah, I do want to clarify, because people think when I say things like this, they just I'm just going off and one about anyone who drives in the middle lane. No, I'm not. Yes, it's quite acceptable to drive in the middle lane. Got no problem if you're driving in the middle lane, even though Ohio Code 21 says you must use a left-hand lane. I've got no problem with it if you're keeping up with traffic. If you're all moving along, that's then fine. It's when you're not. It's these ignorant individuals who think I can sit in the middle lane because I don't know. I just sit in the trucker's lane. It's not a trucker's lane. It's a left-hand lane. We're obeying the law to let you guys go by because you're faster. That is it. It's not a trucker's lane. So you sit in the middle lane. Thought, right, I'm only going to just sit here and do 50 miles an hour. I am not aware of the rest of the traffic. I'm not keeping up with the traffic. But if you're not keeping up with the traffic, you're causing us to do one, move us out into the third lane, try and overtake you, or undertake you.
Which would be illegal, and of course you don't do.
Well, this is fourth and fifth lane. You've got quite a lot of the motorways now. You've got 4 5 lanes. So yeah.
I mean, M25 is it's a subject unto itself, isn't it? Because there's an argument to be made as far as the M25. There's so many junctions close together, and some of them will, like the near side lane will peel off, sort of thing. The M3 junction is one that springs to mind.
Yeah.
Both of those lanes, 1 and 2, peel off onto the M3, sort of thing. So I 100% know what you're saying, and yeah, no, I'm fully on board with you. I think the bigger problem is, like, there's nothing wrong with driving at 50 mile an hour on a motorway. There's nothing wrong. It can be annoying, but do it on the near side lane, and then don't do that thing of then when a HGV starts to overtake you, suddenly snap out of whatever daydream you're in and be like, oh, I'm being overtaken by a lorry. Let me speed up. And then 2 miles down the road, you catch them back up again.
Yeah. I mean, I had one the other night. It wasn't actually a car, it was actually a van driver. All the way from about the A3, first over. No, that's a lie. From the A24. Dawkins, south of Dawkins was the first time I overtook it, all the way up to the M40 junction. Right? And he did exactly that. He was going along the straights about 42 miles an hour. You go up through Kingsfold and not Kingsfold.
Yeah.
Homewood, North Homewood, and that, just before you get to Dorking Hill. So I've overtaken him. There's 50 miles an hour there. I've overtaken him. He's doing about 40 in his own little world. Everything fine. Get down to the roundabout, and he goes in the right-hand lane. So I come out the roundabout, so I've had to let him go because he's nowhere near. aware enough of me to allow space for me to get out. So I've had to let him go. He's pulled out, going up the hill, and drag. Micklesham Lane's the other side of Dorking. I've overtaken him again. Come up to the junction of the M25, he overtakes. Then gets onto the motorway, and then he slows down again. So I've overtaken him again. And then 5 minutes later, he speeds up, pulls in front of me, and then 5 minutes later, I have to overtake him again. So, for Christ's sake, mate, just make up what speed you want to do. And just sit at that speed, within reason. And I think that this is what brings a lot of this, because people aren't really speed aware. They're speed aware. Go on.
No, I think so. There's a couple of things that you have to separate, in my opinion, as far as this goes. Like, some people don't have cruise control. So, like, obviously the lorries we both drove, you get onto the motorway, you set it at 52.5 or you set it at 55.9, and you just go. And without hills and gradients, sort of regardless of that, you're going to be going at that speed. If you haven't got cruise control, it unless you're rigidly looking at the speedometer, it is very easy to drift. Very easy to drift. But I do think there's a lot of people who just don't pay attention, and I mean that speaks volumes in itself. That you're not, like you say, they're not aware of their surroundings. They're daydreaming, sort of thing. And it is that thing of, you overtake them in the lorry and it snaps them out of whatever, daydream that they're having, and they're like, oh, I'm being overtaken by a lorry, and they go past you, and then the speed drifts back down again. It comes down to the standard of driving, I think, unfortunately, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be, and that's what I'm saying about the speed awareness. People aren't that speed aware, because if a lot of people, I don't think that's correct. So the people who aren't speed aware generally are the drivers who have that tunnel vision.
Yes.
And they're only looking at the front there. To be speed aware doesn't necessarily mean to you look at the speedo. There's awareness of the vehicle and transport around you. Because you don't need to look at that. If you're within speed, you're like, actually, I don't really want to go any faster than this, because everyone's overtaking me. I'll move in. But many people sit out in the middle lane that aren't actually aware that there's people undertaking them, there's people overtaking them. They're just sitting there with this tunnel vision, looking at the end of their bonnet in their own little world, wherever that may be.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I
And
mean,
that's what I meant about speed aware. It's not just looking at that. It's actually being the awareness outside. Like you said, it's just people don't.
I mean, what do you like? I'll hold my hands up and be honest. It's. I mean, bear in mind, like, you do the night trunking, so you're traveling up and down the M40 at 3 o'clock in the morning. If I did it myself, if I'm coming down the motorway, in lane 1, and there's someone doing 50 miles an hour in lane 2, I will undertake them. I have no bones about it. I will just go past them, sort of thing. Because why are you sitting there at that speed? I've heard, I've read online, lots of people kind of, there's, as far as I'm aware, it's illegal to undertake. But some people make the point, look, no, you're in separate lanes. The fact he's doing, I say he as default, the fact they're in lane 2 doing 50 miles an hour, you're in lane 3 doing lane 1 doing 56. That it's on them, sort of thing. But it's I guess it's illegal. It is illegal, but at the same time, it's frustrating because we can't go out into lane 3.
Yeah, I mean, my counter argument to that, basically is, I would quite happy moving and overtake you if you weren't sitting in that lane. I can't overtake you if you're sitting in that lane. You move over, I'll overtake you.
Yeah.
If you want to sit in that lane, then the speed limit for you as a car driver or van driver is 70. If you want to do 50, right, you give me no option. I want to do 56. I need to be doing 56 to get back.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to sit there doing 50, then it's your decision to go 20 miles an hour below the speed limit in the middle lane. If you want to go 20 miles an hour limit below the speed limit, fine. get in the inside lane and let us go.
I
All
think
right.
there's I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. Do they is the actual driving test these days? They take you out on the motorway, because I know it used to be that you didn't go on the motorway if you were a learner driver. Um,
I think you can, yeah, but
is
is
it part
any
of
instructor going to take you out
what?
at
Well,
rush hour?
no. So I know, because I'm not sharing the screen with you, but the background to this at the minute is the M23, which is now
I
four
know. I'm
lanes.
absolutely disgusted that I can't see it this time.
So yeah,
So
so
it's the
it,
last one, and you don't care. So
I don't.
they did half a job.
Do you know what the technical problems we was having
Lucky's
earlier?
dressed.
You don't want me topless, mate. Yeah. So, but the point I'm making is, so they upgraded the M23, which we're looking at now. When you watch it back, you'll
Yeah,
see what I'm saying. And it's four lanes. When I go up and down it, it's so lane one is empty. I mean, I know it's not a hard shoulder anymore. It used to be a hard shoulder, but it's now a live lane. And I can run all the way sort of up the M23 in lane one, and there's nothing else there. It's just me, because everyone's in lane two, sort of thing. You see people joining at Gatwick, and they'll go straight over to lane two, lane three, and then just sit there, you know?
yeah,
I mean, I don't know, unless there's some sort of, until they actually start, you know, pulling people over for running in lane two, lane three, when lane one's available. It's not going to change. You know, some people just have that mentality. I mean, I'm sure you see it. People will pull onto the motorway and just go straight into the middle lane.
yeah. Every time I was M4 coming back M4. So
Mhm.
you've got four lanes just past the M4 junction. So you've got four lanes, and then you've got the lane that comes off the 3113 to the A30. So the left hand lane, so there's five lanes. Left hand lane's a filter lane for the A30, which so they just joined me from the 3113, which is three lanes. Come past that, I've got four lanes. So I'm waiting for this car to come up, then the inside. Which is fine. They've come up, they've just joined, so they're getting up speed. I'm
Mhm.
quite happily sitting there waiting for him to undertake me. Technically, he's undertaken me, but he's just joining a junction, so he's needs to get up
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
speed or
yeah,
his
yeah.
speed. I've got no worries with that of whatsoever. Now to get up to speed, I've moved over into that lane, so I'm the inside of the four lanes, but obviously on the outside of the fifth lane, which is the A30 filter. So I'm sitting there, and this car which I let out has gone all the way out to the fourth lane.
Yeah.
There's no one there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there. Why have you gone all the way over there? No, there's nothing in front of me. I've got about three trucks, which are about a mile away. Yeah, in front of me. There's nothing in my mirror. There's nothing. Why did you have to move all the way out there?
But it's just, it is just, yeah, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
some
But
people
like you
just do
say,
it. Yeah.
until the police said they would, Volsa and all that said they will, because not Volsa, is DVSA
Yeah.
said to look at the cameras, they're going to stop doing it and that, but I don't think they have. I don't think they can. It's unmanageable. They've let it go so far. It's so big.
Yeah.
It happens all the time
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that, and they haven't even got enough. Excuse me, the structure is just even strong enough to catch all the speeders
No,
at the moment.
no,
So let alone trying to catch people doing the middle lane thing is not going to happen. It's
no.
just
Yeah, I mean, it's just that there's certain things with, I think, just driving in general as a job, that you just, it's, to say you have to put up with it makes it sound wrong, but that's essentially what you have to do. You just have to, accept that people are going to sit in the middle lane going 50 mile an hour. Um, and you just have to, you have to, it's almost that thing of, you have to drive to what other people are doing, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to,
And
because you are gonna.
I would argue as well, that's part of being a professional driver,
Yeah,
unfortunately. As sucks as it does, it's just, you have to accept, it's kind of like that point you're making of, when you're coming down, and there's a slip road joining, and you'll look across, and you can see a car, and it's going about the same speed as you. or van or whatever. It's going about the same speed as you, and you're like, I've seen you. Yes, yeah, and this is it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they're just looking forward, and then 5 yards before the actual white lines where they start to join, they'll actually kind of look beside them, and there's 44 tons of double decker lorry beside them, sort of thing, you know. But that's the thing. So you know, as a professional, you're looking at it like, right, I've seen them. They've paid no attention to me. If I can get into lane two, I will get out because they're not going to notice. You know, even to the point. Excuse me, you're in a car. You could speed up to 60 miles an hour and you're going to beat me out, you know, or you could slow down. It's either or sort of thing. But don't, you know, don't just sit there at 56 and because there's going to be a problem. But
Yeah.
it's one
They
of those
do.
things you just, yeah, it's just one of those things you have to get on with, I suppose, isn't it? Unfortunately.
That's it. Yeah, and sometimes you can slow down, and that's the thing is that, you know, you, I think you're absolutely correct, and I am sort of concerned, and not concerned. I am aware. So I am aware that through the podcast we've done a lot of things that are actually, you know, quite negative and what a pain in the ass and everything is on the road, and it's that sort of thing that we've experienced and we've carried on going. That every day that the thing that is a pain in the ass becomes quite acceptable, and you
Yeah.
do build in an awareness around you that. So I could give you half a dozen different examples of that scenario you just gave. Well, I've been in it. Only one, say, out of those half a dozen examples I could have given, only one became a real sort of danger, and that's the issue, and that's where we, you know, so the other 5 incidents or scenarios, I was able to make alternative, you know, action
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
order to make it safe because
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Yeah, and that is the thing about being a professional, having that awareness, and that's what annoys me, that it's not in the car users or the van users, who are by far the biggest motorway users out there on the
Yeah. Yeah.
road.
Yeah.
And I think, for example, segue into what we're going to do. This is going to be my segue. So that you preempted earlier. Yeah. So it's, and I don't think, I can't see it getting any better. I honestly cannot see it getting any better, purely for the fact of that. If we go national highways, their plan for restructuring to do like the A3 that we said, the A3 and everything else, finishes this year. There is no more plans that presently to develop bigger networks, but we're still getting more lorries. We still get more lorries. We still get more vans. We're getting more vans. It was 17.5 billion van sales last year,
Million.
from now billion since the pandemic. Sorry, since the pandemic, they've grown from 17.1. There might be million actually.
Yeah.
Can't see
Billions.
it now,
A
but yeah,
billion seems an awful lot. Yeah.
so but that so the vans that have actually increased
Oh, okay.
hugely.
Yeah. Well,
Mainly, they're the biggest buyer, even more than cars, in the past since the pandemic. And I think a lot of that is because we had this conversation actually with someone a while ago. It's actually quite funny. And it really was the Simpsons moment. It really was just, do you understand what you just said? But anyway, so we was having this conversation about fans and all that coming around and so complained about SUVs. And I was saying, yeah, I said, the trouble is, society have become, in large, not everyone, but in large, um, become a sofa shopping society. We sit
yeah.
on the sofa, we can do it on the phones, and we want it next day, or if not quicker. That has then produced a huge market for van owner drivers delivering parcels and packages and all this sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and she told us, well, what's that got to do with what you're talking about SUVs? I said, because that to get it from the hubs or to get it from one part of the country, if you buy something that, you know, is manufactured in Leeds, that has to go through the country. They're not sending one parcel. They're going to send a whole load down to the south for the
Right, we ran into some technical difficulties there. Dave was mid rant about
See,
parcels
even the
coming down
PC don't
from.
like me.
Yeah, Dave was mid rant about parcels coming down from Leeds and having to get shipped somewhere. Will we find out where they're going? We left you on that cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun. I was going to reach for a piano there, by the way. Right, yeah, it's just a lack of knowledge and that sort of thing, because it's a huge HGV network for parcel to come. They're not going to deliver one parcel. I've had it before driving the ridges, where we used to work. I'll go with one power, I've got one big pot plant, I'm going to deliver it, and the guy said, "Oh, you made good time from Devon." I should just come from up the road.
Yes, I'm going to drive an 18-ton lorry from Devon to yeah.
Just people don't it. And the person I was having a conversation as well. She actually turned around and she said, "Well, I ordered this from Scarborough, and it came to me the next day in the van, and the van guy delivered it in the van." That van hasn't come from Scarborough. I said, "That van that's come from just up the road." So the HGV came from Scarborough. Your pallet or your parcel go from Scarborough into a van, has picked it up, taking it to a warehouse, but then taking it to a hub, but then HGVs have transported to another hub to go back into another way, to go back into a van, and another van has brought it to you. It's not the same van.
Well,
I've travelled the whole country for your box like that of eyeliner.
I suppose there's an element of yeah. I mean, people don't know these things because they don't need to know it, but it's common sense. Like, is the postman delivering your Christmas card from Auntie Dot in Cardiff?
Jamaica.
That well, from Cardiff, the guy hasn't picked it up from the letterbox in Cardiff and drove all the way to South London to drop it off to you, has he? It's gone through various different hands to get there, sort of thing. Yeah, people just don't. I don't think it comes along with the. Do you remember that scandal years ago about the food miles and how something will get produced on a farm in the UK, it will get shipped out to France to be processed, come back here to have something else done, go back out to somewhere else to get I don't know, treated or whatever, and then come back and it ends up on your shelves. I don't think people fully appreciate how much things move back and forwards, sort of thing. Um,
No.
and that goes to your point as far as like the amount of traffic on the roads with freight moving backwards and forwards. I mean, we had it, where I used to work, where you still work, sort of thing. I would pick something up that was going the next postcode over, but because we don't deliver to that postcode, it was going to go from our depot, 150 miles up the country to come back 140 miles to the depot that does the next postcode to then get delivered, sort of thing. And the ridiculous thing is, because so many of the companies are chasing that freight, it's cheaper to do it that way than it probably would be to get a man in a van to come and shift it for you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
I think,
that.
let's say, with any operation that size, there's got to be rigid systems in place, otherwise it would fall down. Because you think, "Oh, okay, actually, I can just take up to the postcode. I can do that." And you get 50 companies just doing it. Actually, I'm just doing. You've got no chance of keeping a top of that freight.
No.
And
Yeah.
who's responsible, who's paid for what, and everything else. It just doesn't work. It's just
Yeah.
the British network. So what that are sort of leading up into is because that's the way technology is going, and I do it. I do it a hell of a lot. I am a lazy bastard, but I'm, if I could buy something on Amazon and some other van driver can bring it to me the next day, why am I going to waste my petrol and time trying to walk around a load of shops
Yeah.
to try and
Yeah.
find something which when it's sitting there in front of me, I am lazy like that, and I make no apologies for it whatsoever. Yeah, so this is the way society is going. This is it's not going to change.
No.
As in, it's going to decrease the armchair sort of market. If you want to call that a market, I guess it is. Yeah. So how? So what we're looking at, so the end result of that is there's gonna have to be more HGVs on the road and LGVs and vans.
Hmm.
And we've got car couriers. Quite often the Amazon is not a van; it's actually a car courier
Oh,
guy who's doing that.
Hermes, now called Every, exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
People are doing it in their estate cars, sometimes not
yeah.
even
So
estate cars.
and I think this, yeah, I, I've seen it as well with Amazon guys. So there's got to be. This is what frustrates me is stop moaning about SUVs because you're sitting there on your sofa, right, ordering shit.
Hmm.
It's going to have to go on an SUV. It's as simple as that. So don't moan about SUVs driving up down the country and driving at night, making noise and polluting and everything, because stop ordering it. If you don't want to use an SUV, go jump in your car and go to the shops, which is actually, funny enough, has been delivered. All the stock in there has been delivered by an SUV. So it's just this never ending. So can our network currently support future adaptations to it or rebuilding in order to cope for? I don't think it can. And even the national highways are coming out some like rubbish. I'm sorry. Anyone from national highways, if you want to have a go at me, feel free because you're rubbish. All right. Because you stop this because you're looking at better ways of managing the networks. There is no better ways. You're still going to have accidents. You're still going to have people holding up middle lanes and that. So if you change it to electric vehicles, and you still the number of people using vehicles will still increase, and the network won't be able to grow
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
accommodate that increase. Whatever your vehicle, if you're driving a big diesel V8 Scania, or you got a new Prius with the electric motor in it, you're still taking up the same amount of space. You still got that volume of vehicles. So I don't know what the answer is. I think is I know what I've got my dream answer, but it's never going to work. My answer is you're either going to go up or you're going to go down. And tunneling technology nowadays is so advanced. I mean,
Mm,
look, we're doing the channel. You're either going to have to go through it or you're going to have to go over with less junctions. So you go, say, from the M40 hub all the way up to, say, one at Oxford
hmm.
and then Birmingham. That's it. There
Yeah.
are no turns on all these junctions. So if you're, going to like Birmingham or something like that, you can get on up, go up or underneath, and you go to that destination
Uh, uh,
without all the little junctions. But
I mean, the problem you're going to have there is just cost. It's, I mean, because they were
oh god,
talking,
yeah,
because I mean, they wanted to build underneath Stonehenge. I think they were talking about they wanted
mm,
to get rid of that 303, and
yeah,
the cost of it was in the billions, and
yeah,
as a country, regardless of whichever color party is in charge, they're not going to sanction that they're not going to give that
yeah,
sort of money to go for it. Plus,
yeah,
I don't fully understand why, but there was lots of complaints about. Obviously, it's a World Heritage site and stuff like that. Um, they didn't want us to tunnel under it, even though I would have thought that would have been better because then you're not getting people stopping to have a look at Stonehenge as they drive past, sort of thing. Um,
yeah. So
I,
yeah, yeah, it's like
I mean,
roundabout.
on a related note, so was it last week before, I went through that new Silvertown tunnel
Mm,
underneath the Thames, which is literally next to Blackwall Tunnel. I went through it and it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. It's nice and tall. You had double decker buses running from it through it. That's how tall it is, sort of thing. Um, there was like really no traffic at all, and this was middle of the day on a weekday, going under the Thames. As soon as I rejoined, on the A2 south of the river, it was just traffic, solid traffic. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be getting my figures wrong here. How much do you reckon it was to build that new tunnel?
Oh, I don't know, but I would say something millions,
Mm,
around millions, 300 million.
so I don't know. I tell you what. Let me look it up quickly because the figure
All right.
I heard.
Yeah.
This is exciting, isn't it? We should have planned this beforehand. Uh,
Why? It's more fun.
the other thing, it's now toll. It's a toll, so you have to
Uh,
pay a toll to go over to Queen Elizabeth over the M25 bridge, and they've made the Blackwall Tunnel uh, a toll as well.
2.2 billion.
Yeah, yeah, 2.2. Yeah, I thought it was, but yeah,
Yeah.
2.2 billion. Um, on what? So you're looking at. I mean, fair enough, you're tunneling under the Thames, but 2.2 billion seems a hell of a lot of money. You know?
Well,
Uh,
construction costs was 1.2
mhm.
billion for the construction. Operational maintenance and financing costs over 25 years is 1 billion. So it's 2.2 billion.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, but this is the thing. So it's now a toll, but
Yeah.
so is the Blackwall Tunnel as well, is a toll. Um, but I mean, if it costs that much to build that amount of tunnel, it's not going to happen. I mean, the one
Yeah,
thing.
because it's not far, is it?
No, no, it's really not. I mean, I think it's just
It's
over a
about
kil.
3 miles, isn't it?
It's probably not even that, mate. It's probably just
Yeah.
over a
Nothing from
kilometer.
end to end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
No,
it's
yeah.
you're not talking.
But
Yeah, it just seems ridiculous, you know.
I
Um,
know.
but I mean, as far as physical road space goes, they're not.
It's
Yeah,
just a different space.
yeah. I mean, what can you
Yeah.
do? You know, like for instance, doing away with the hard shoulder on like the M23 sections of the M25. I haven't been on the M40 for a long time. Is that still with a hard shoulder?
Yeah, majority of it. Yeah.
But obviously, I
Yeah.
know up in Birmingham, the M6. I mean, they were the original. They've been running with it's timed, isn't it? Whether the near side lane you can run in it or not. I believe the hard
It's
shoulder.
yeah, it's roadside. It depends on the amount of traffic. Yeah,
Yeah,
depends on the amount of traffic. And I because they obviously look at it and there's 3 lanes really congested. Yes, why are you having an empty lane there? Yeah, no one's moving faster than 20 miles an hour anyway.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
might as well use the other lane. And that lane would go off to the next junction, so you don't
Mm,
actually use it
yeah,
to continue your journey all the way up. But that just filters people on and off. Yeah, it just makes M42 as well. They do the same on the M42 all the way on the M42.
yeah. But I
Uh,
believe they've
uh,
put a pause on doing any new ones because of the safety concerns.
completely.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, completely. Yeah, the amount of kids people have, they've ended up stop putting the hazard lights on, and then people going into that lane at ridiculous speeds, really not being aware, and then just running into people. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's, you're into people's vehicles, and quite often when you take the hard shoulder away, especially if you're looking at places around Birmingham and the cities and that, you've got the crash barrier. There is nowhere else to go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's no
You
refuge areas, is there?
no, yeah, and they're saying about you've got to step out of your vehicle and just stand in the middle of the motorway now. It's, yeah, or behind the crash barrier. Because you've got a crash barrier, then you've got the sound fencing. You see all this new fencing that's going
Oh
up, it's
yes,
all
yeah, yeah,
sound for
yeah,
residents and
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's about a gap like that. So like you hit the crash barrier, I've got a fence to stop me, so I can't even jump out the way now. It's, you know, it just doesn't make it just. It's always add on, add on, add on, and I think this is the way it's got to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see it getting any better. So I am glad, and it just goes back to what why it sort of started this sort of thing. There's all this sort of information and problems, and we can't really see a way around it. And the only thing we're concentrating on at the moment is developing bigger infrastructure for more electrical vehicles, which is not a bad way to go. I
Hmm.
don't think it's the right way to go, to be honest. I think we should be spending that money in hydro, because I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that comes in, that will,
Hydrogen fuel
yeah,
does seem a way to go. Yeah,
it is, yeah. But anyway, obviously we've been spending way too much money on electric,
yeah, yeah.
really.
And
As
it's
I stop
yeah,
until we can get that. It just doesn't make sense to me.
no,
Yeah.
no, and it's still produced by fossil fuels at the end of the day as well, isn't it? All the
Yeah,
electric. So yeah,
exactly.
the argument for green energy as far as electric vehicles is, yeah, it's a bit fallacious, I think.
Yeah. So trying to get back into my, desperately trying to scratch and find a segue back into the band. So what I was basically to be opinions for HGV driver, especially an Arctic driver class one, not so much of rigids because that's a different role. But I mean, well, unless you do rigid, that that does nights out and that sort of thing. Because I did, you do some, but yeah, generally that one on the motorway network. Where's the appeal for an SUV driver to face that grief day in and day out,
Hmm.
yeah, with no really sort of resolve and that stress to do with it, plus the amount of time that you do spend in sitting in the cab, sitting on your ass, but it's so unhealthy for you. There's no real benefit out of that. And you know what food's like? They keep saying, "Oh, get eat healthy foods." You can't prepare and keep healthy food for a week if you're out for a week.
No,
It doesn't keep. It just
no,
does
no.
not. You go into it. You go into services, and they've found one or two actually down to Southampton services. Begin with R. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, down there, they've got a health food shop in there. Go in, and it's 3 times more expensive than McDonald's. What? How can you afford that? You
No,
can't. It's
no.
absolutely ridiculous. But getting to what I started is, so if you're looking at a young man, hey, why should I pay out all that money for a license?
Hmm.
Because it looks pretty crap, hard job. Yeah, when I don't need to,
Hmm.
I can get a van, I can earn decent money on van. I'm a young man, so yeah, it's hard work. You sometimes you've got to do 100 of it. I'm thinking parcel companies at the moment,
Yeah,
100
yeah,
parcel come to Christmas, it's really busy, and but I can make the money. I can
yeah.
make the money. I could do it. I could. Why would you do an HGV drive? And someone who's gone that route,
Hmm.
but in a roundabout way, i.e., yourself,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Uh, what is a comparison to? I know you didn't do the night trunking or that sort of thing,
No, I did, I
or
did, I did, I did, I did.
oh,
Yeah, yeah, I
so
did.
what's the comparison between the two? What are you going to
So I went, and so for bring you up to speed. So I used to work with Dave as a lorry driver, and I left. What is about 3 months ago now?
do?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, about 2.5, 3 months ago. And I drive 3.5 ton vans. I do 10 hours less a week, um, and I'm on the same money, essentially, is what I'm taking home. The same money as for driving a class one vehicle, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. The main reason I changed was time, as much as anything, because I was doing 55 hours a week in the lorry. 55 basic. Some weeks, if it was really busy, you could do 60 hours. And I mean, I know you did days with me as well, and now you're on nights, so you're clocking the same sort of hours as well, 60 hours. So for me, it was time as much as anything. I mean, I'm quite fortunate in that I'm not chasing the money so much these days. I'm a bit older. Um, don't get me wrong, I can't afford not to work, sort of thing. But I'm not chasing the big money. As long as I've got enough to survive, I'm more than happy. So the fact that I could do 10 hours less a week for driving a van, but still earn the same money, I jumped at the chance. Obviously, within that, so now I handball. Everything's handball out the back of the van. I've got my little sack barrow that I wheel about, sort of thing. So I load that up and off I take my delivery. Um, and yeah, that's it. So don't get me wrong. The first week, I thought I made an absolutely wrong move because my back was aching, my arms were hurting, my legs was aching. But you get used to it. You get used to it. And yeah, so for me, the biggest thing is just time. I because it's just. I mean, I know I don't really want to cover over old ground, but we've discussed before how the big pallet companies have driven down the wages essentially because they're all chasing the same freight. And the way they do it is economy of scale. So if they can get as much freight moved, it kind of doesn't matter how much they're charging, sort of thing. They can drop the price because if you're moving 500,000 pallets a night, sort of thing, and you're charging 30 quid a go, it's you're going to make the money, sort of thing, and no one else is going to be able to get a look in because you're moving all that freight, sort of thing, and for so cheaply. I didn't particularly want to go down this route, but I don't understand considering how many like how dependent the country is on lorry driving and lorry movements. Like for instance, during COVID, we were heroes. We were heroes. We were keeping the country
Okay.
moving. The people were like, "Oh, thank you, lorry drivers. You're doing a sterling job." No, 3-4 years later, we're a roadblock again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, get up on my high horse. The only jobs I've ever had that had decent terms and conditions and pay were heavily unionized. Now, I know lots of people have their opinion about unions, good or bad. I'm not old enough to remember the bad old days of the 70s and 4-day weeks and all that, so I don't remember all that. I was a kid when there was the miners' strike and stuff, again, so I don't remember all that. But any job that I've ever had, so that was the railway or on the buses, it was unionized and we had decent money and we had decent terms and conditions. Don't get me wrong, sometimes we had to fight for them, particularly on the buses. I went out on strike a couple of times, um, and it seems to me I don't understand why if if all lorry drivers got together and said, right, we're going on a strike for a day, 2 days, people would love it because the roads would be empty. But they also wouldn't love it when their milk doesn't arrive in the supermarket, or their every parcel doesn't come, their Amazon parcel doesn't come. But the problem you have is it's so many different companies. It's so disparate that you're not going to get that kind of collective action done. And that's the only way that I could see things were going to change. I mean, I stayed as long as I did driving the HGVs because for all the moaning we do, it was a fairly decent company. I never really had any problem with anyone there. Most of the people I worked with, I really liked personally. There was a few, idiots, but you get that in any place, sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I absolutely love. There's an element of you drive lorries. So one of the guys that we work with, I'm not going to say names because I don't want to, but he said to me, a lot of companies rely on the fact that, what was it? He described it as you have diesel in the blood, in that you just love driving lorries. It's what you do, and I do still miss it. I still see some of the guys I worked with because they come to the new place where I'm working, and I'll climb up in the lorry and I'll chat to them for 10-15 minutes, sort of thing. And I'm sitting there looking around in the cabin. I'm like, oh God, yeah, I really miss this. No, I'm in my van, sort of thing. But they rely on that. The fact that it
Oh, yeah.
is you just enjoy it, sort of thing.
The cooling,
Yeah. There's an
cooling
element.
was that.
Yeah, there's an element of
Mm.
how there's certain professions where it's what they call it, I can't think of the word now. Oh God, that's going to annoy me. A vocation. So you're looking at
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you're looking at things like nursing, teaching, but police officers, it's more than a job. It's a way of life. Just sounds corny and cheesy, sort of thing. But you do it because you're not doing it just to get a paycheck. You're doing it because you actually really enjoy the job, sort of thing. And I think that's the problem. And like you say, with younger people getting into the industry, is that some people do still look at lorries and be like, yeah, I want to drive a lorry, sort of thing. And particularly if like your dad or your uncle or your granddad was a lorry driver and you went out with them, sort of thing, you're like, oh, this is all I want to do, sort of thing. But equally, there's like you're saying, as a young man, especially if you've got a family, if you're gone from Monday till Sunday and you're not seeing your kids grow up, it was like you were being you were getting some sort of you were seeing the financial benefits of that, but you're not anymore. Particularly
No.
if you can get the same money. I mean, the ridiculous that, like, one of the things that absolutely drove me mad was one of the guys at our place was saying his daughter was on a higher hourly rate than us. She was 18 and working at Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, to me, that's
Um,
just like, that's ridiculous.
and you haven't even touched on the regulations and the laws and
Oh,
everything else, which are constantly changing, the pressure we've got with that as well.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I've just gone off on one there, but um,
No, you're absolutely right.
but
Yeah,
yes.
why
So
not?
I mean, so for me, ultimately, it was about time. That I get. I'm not wishing away Monday to Friday, and then come the weekend, the weekend's gone like that.
Gone thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now, I'll get to have a little bit of time in the afternoon to do whatever. Normally just to ice pack my shoulder because I've been lifting heavy stuff out the back of the van all day. But it's yeah, it was a change. I do still miss the HGVs, absolutely, but until they, yeah, it would have to be more money. It would have to be worth. It would have to pay more money to go back there.
I, d- I don't think I can go back in days. Think I ever go back in days. There's just too many people, too much stress,
Mm.
and that's what I. Yeah, everything that you said, I completely 100% agree with.
Hmm.
Because of my physical limitation, I could never do that van driver work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Otherwise, I would do the same thing. I just can't do it.
yeah. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, and
That's fair
that's the
enough.
reason why I won't go back in days.
Yeah,
There's just too many pallet truck on and off,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
pallet lift, and all that sort of stuff. Now I just so even though I say yeah, I do 55, 60 hours of bit of a shit. So actually, it's quite peaceful.
Oh yeah, no, don't, no. This is
Yeah,
this is.
so,
I don't want it to
yeah,
come across as I'm running it down because obviously I know you're still doing it, and I did the 2 years of like the night trunking, and yeah, I did absolutely love it, sort of thing, and the I don't want to, you know, tell you how to suck eggs, but the hardest thing you do is pull it open and close the curtains. Obviously there's stressful ones when the M40 is closed or the M25 closed, and you're having to go around a diversion or something like that. But it's it's one of those jobs where it's as hard as you want to make it, sort of thing.
yeah.
Uh,
I, I, yeah. Going on that, exactly what you said. I don't get so stressed about it anymore. I just sort of accept it. So if I'm back by 6, which is like a 13-hour day, you know, I'm actually quite happy with that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and some days I don't get back until 7, but actually the other week didn't get back until quarter to 11. That's because I got a flat tire and they never came out,
Oh
and we were
God.
chasing them to come out because the company was so rubbish, and I ran out of time.
Oh, so someone had to
So I
come
had
pick
to
you up.
pull off. I'm walking, yeah, John and Ian had to come out and get me.
Oh God.
Yeah, Ian had to take it over. So it was, yeah, it's just one of those occasions. Yeah. But I've had a flat tire and someone else has come out and done it, and they just like hour,
Yeah,
hour
yeah,
and a half.
yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm back at half 2.
Yes.
I
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
now and then
Yeah,
be
yeah.
back half 2, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you've got to be fair and say, actually,
Yeah.
it's okay. And I've got 2 things that I'm happy. I've got a little piano keyboard because I play
Oh,
the
okay.
keys, I got that in my truck. And I plug it in, literally just plug it in because that goes to 12 volt. I plug that in. I can sit there playing my music. I've got a laptop in there which plugs in. I can do all that. So when I'm sitting around waiting, or if I'm actually driving, I enjoy my audio books.
Oh, I love a
So I have
good
the audio
audiobook, mate.
book on.
I do love a
Yeah.
good audiobook. What
Uh,
what what
it's,
what we listening to at the minute, mate?
uh, I, I, I go into it's a Lord of the Rings type things.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
I've
So
got one. Yeah. I don't,
fantasy type.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas got this whole series, which I think is great. Brilliant, apart from the last one. The last one
Oh,
didn't
okay.
like so much.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. Well,
So maybe we could start a podcast on this audio
no,
book.
no. I was just thinking we could get another episode out of what we listened to in the lorry.
Oh, look, yeah.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
We're
I
getting
won't go any
toward
further then. We were discussing that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we're getting towards half an hour, so we'll probably start to wrap it up now anyway. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, well, it was great to catch up with you again, mate. And yeah, we'll have to discuss offline as to yeah if we can squeeze some more episodes out of this or not. Um, but yeah, so I will say
Sorry,
goodbye.
my imagination is running away. Are we just going to go look at alternative functions to do while you're in the truck?
Yeah, but we don't want to get banned off of YouTube, so we'll draw a line at it, right? All right. So yeah, so we will wind it up, and I will say goodbye and hand you over to Dave to say farewell.
Oh yeah. Well, goodbye. If there actually was anyone listening, I tell you what, right? We didn't have that many followers. We hadn't done it for that long, and Mark was quite right at the beginning. Said to think we're going to dry up quite quickly because of the subjects. There's only so much you can really do. You can talk about this. So I think that's really why we sort of come to the end and said, there is only sort of limits, and I don't want to end up that we come on to do this and it will just be about slagging things off. That's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
What I really wanted was trying to get some feedback between the two, between other truckers, people thinking about the trucking, but it's just a time thing, just to set up. So that being said, I am assuming he might shoot me down and tell me I'm absolutely wrong, that this is going to be forever out there anyway.
yeah. I'll leave it up there, mate.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so if anyone actually does message and say, actually, this is all right, you can still message us and it's not say, well, that's it, done, we're never going to do it again, because who knows what's happened.
Yeah.
You may get 6 or 7 people telling me, actually, I did listen to it. I didn't like it or anything like that, but I did and be quite interested in it again. So, what it is, that's it. See you later. We're all sort of done, barring an extended version, possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, unless there's people who came up and say yes, no, please continue, then we could look at that as well. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing it.
It was good fun to.
And I'm really happy, glad that Mark was the one on the other end because I could never have done it without his help. His input, setting all this up and all the pictures and videos and all that sort of thing. I just sit here and waffle. That's all I do. Yeah, just talk shit. So Mark is a mastermind behind that. So for me, thank you very much, Mark,
No,
for your
it's
help putting
been
it
a
together.
pleasure working with you, sir.
So, and that's it. I'm done.
All right. Well, we will see you later. Bye for now.
Yeah.